Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Friday. Hope you all had a good week. So today's video is going to be a little bit shorter and a little bit of a different kind of format than you're probably normally used to, just because I'm super busy and I've got to go to work in, let me check my phone, 30 minutes. So I'm going to have to make this relatively quick. I promise tomorrow I'll have a more in-depth video, but really not all that much has changed between yesterday and today anyway, so there's still a lot of question marks, so I'll go ahead and try to answer as much as I can in this video. So let's go ahead and just really get right into it. So what I'm going to do today is pretty much to show you a bunch of models, a bunch of different possibilities for this weekend storm, and then give you my forecast at the end. So that's the plan, and we're going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to start off here with the GFS. The point of this kind of is just to show you that there's a lot of different things that are on the table here, a lot of different options, a lot of different things that can happen, and unfortunately the way that these upper level low systems work, they're just very difficult to forecast, and it's really one of those things you kind of just have to nowcast when you get there. But here's one solution. This is the GFS. Shows that precipitation building into the southeast going into Saturday night. That I feel pretty confident in. Precipitation builds into the region Saturday night. Check that off. Count on that. This is where the question marks begin. When and where and how much of a precipitation changeover do we get? You see the latest GFS here. It gets that changeover in the mountains, kind of, but then it waits till Sunday morning to really get that changeover going, and then that's whenever you finally get some of the snow here in the mountains. And on the GFS at least, that's pretty confined to the mountains of western North Carolina. You can see we do get some of these areas to pop up here into northern Georgia, upstate South Carolina as well, especially north of I-85. See some of that changeover to snow. But something I want you to also notice here on the back side is this kind of area that's popping up here in North Alabama and Tennessee. That's one area back in this region that I think could get a real surprise out of this system. It's one of those places we haven't really been talking about with this storm, but I think that area could be under the gun for some snow with the tail end of the system, and I'll show you that in my forecast later on in the video. But nonetheless, going through the day Sunday, the GFS shows that snow ongoing into western North Carolina, and even some sleet maybe, or freezing rain ongoing into sections of the higher terrains into Virginia. That's a trend we're going to have to watch as well to see if we have any icing concerns, but I do think we have sleet as a possibility, but I don't think freezing rain is going to be too big of a deal with this system. And then anyway, the GFS continues that and eventually moves this out by Monday. So that's one model. Next one we're going to look at here is the latest high-resolution rapid refresh model that just ran. Let me check. Yep. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to show this to you, and this is actually my first time looking at this as well. So we're going to you're going to get behind the scenes here of what it's like for me to see a model for the first time. So the high-resolution rapid refresh, this is just now kind of getting into range, so it likely won't show the entire storm. But it does agree that precipitation moves in Saturday night, then gets, honestly, it looks like a lot of sleet here in the mountains of western North Carolina here at the onset of this system. And then by the time we get towards the back end, the latest HRRR shows that changeover beginning here north of I-85 in upstate South Carolina and into the mountains of North Carolina. And then once again, the HRRR here is showing that area on the backside I was telling you about, back here towards Nashville. Maybe not quite as far as Nashville, but this kind of part of Tennessee here, showing some snow there here on the latest high-resolution rapid refresh. And then that's as far as it goes out. But I will tell you, the trends we've seen today, if anything is new, I'm watching out into this section of Tennessee, maybe even parts of Kentucky for a quick burst of heavy snow on the back side of this. That is definitely one trend we have seen today. Looking at the Euro model, the Euro agrees with that general idea. The Euro here shows that snow again into western North Carolina. Most of the models show that, but then once again shows that secondary kind of place back here towards middle Tennessee, potentially seeing some of that snow on the back side of this. So that's a trend we've watched today, and I think, you know, now that we're getting closer to the trend, we're really going to want to pay attention to. But another thing with the Euro here, just really quite an impressive snowstorm ongoing in the mountains with this system through the day Sunday on Super Bowl Sunday before once again moving out on Monday. And by the way, I'm sorry if I'm kind of glossing through these models, but I'm going to do most of my talking whenever we get towards my actual forecast at the end. I just kind of want to give you some behind the scenes here of what I'm looking at to make that forecast. Another model we use, the NAM here. I know you're getting models galore today, but either way, same idea. Precipitation moves in Saturday night. Maybe some sleet in the mountains to start off. What the NAM does here, though, is a whole lot of nothing, really. I want you to notice here, the NAM gets quite a dry slot here. By that, I just mean an area in between kind of this precipitation and the actual low pressure itself without much ongoing. And when that dry slot would move in here on the NAM, That's whenever it would actually be cold enough to snow. So that's something we need to watch out for, as well as a possibility with the system. And this is one that I would be worried about if I'm a snow lover, because this does happen a lot of the times where we get this dry slot to move in, and unfortunately this would be moving in again the same time that we would expect snow. So for western North Carolina, parts of upstate South Carolina that have got snow in the forecast for, this is something to watch for sure. We'll watch to see if that happens. Unfortunately, again, it's one of those things we just kind of got to wait till we get there to find out this is going to happen. But the NAM does as well show some of that snow on the very back side here through sections of Tennessee. And that's something that, again, that I think we're gaining confidence in, and something I have in my forecast. So what is the big question mark here? Why do we not know really where the snow is going to happen? And the biggest reason is because it's not really going to be cold enough at the surface for anybody for snow. The people that see snow, it's going to be 33 through like 35 degrees. What really matters is the temperatures above our heads. So what we need to watch for is this area with blue here, where this moves in and can overlap with heavy enough precipitation rates, is likely where we're going to see the snow fall. What that's going to allow is those precipitation rates to help bring down that cold to the surface and then cause some of that snow. So this is the Euro ensemble. So you can see that setting up shop here over sections of northern Georgia, western North Carolina, upstate South Carolina, eastern Tennessee. And again, these are the areas that I think are favored for sure. But you also need those precipitation rates to overlap with this. So again, it's wherever this lines up with some of those heavier rain bands. That's the Euro. This is the GFS. The GFS is a bit further to the east with this, but still the same general kind of area. And the GFS is also a bit weaker with that cold air, so we'll have to watch that as well. So this is a map I show all the time. It shows a chance of seeing an inch of snowfall worth of precipitation falling. So we'll move this ahead. We'll start with the GFS ensembles here, and you can see the GFS really, again, has the outline here in western North Carolina. Areas kind of north of I-85 here through upstate South Carolina having some chance of that. But another thing I want you to notice is back here towards Tennessee. Look at this area that is continuing to show up on a lot of these models with the chance of seeing that change over to snow happen. So that's the GFS. Looking at the Euro as well, the Euro, first of all, has way higher chances of this actually unfolding and being quite a storm. But it does agree the mountains here, seeing that chance. And then this area back here into Tennessee and northern Alabama as well. So that's another thing we're going to watch. This is what I have right now in my forecast. I just drew this up like 10 minutes ago, so I'm sorry that it looks a little messy probably, but I'm going to explain it to you as well as I can. So this kind of pink area here in the middle that I have drawn out, that is the places I think we'll definitely see accumulating snowfall. If I had to put a number on it, I'd say probably 2 to 4 inches or so of snow accumulates in these areas. And that's especially the higher up you go. So I'd say above 4,000 feet, definitely the highest chance of seeing that snow accumulate. In kind of this bluish area here that you kind of see surrounding that pink, that's the area that I think you will see snowfall. Whether it accumulates or not, you know, that's another kind of a whole nother conversation. I think at most likely an inch in these areas here into upstate South Carolina, back towards these sections of Tennessee. I think an inch is probably your ceiling, but nonetheless, I do think you get enough snow to fall that maybe the ground turns white. You get at least a dusting to go down into the record books. This greenish area here is the area that it's going to be close. You could see snowfall, you may not. If I had to pick some areas that are more likely, I think down here towards Atlanta would maybe be a little bit more favored than a place like Charlotte, for example, to see that snowfall, just based off the trends we have seen. The final area is this red area, and I call this the wild card area. This is the area that I think we're going to change over to snow. So I think you're going to get more than just this kind of dusting, but I think, you know, there's still a lot of anything could happen. So right now, I'd say 1 to 2 inches in here, 2 to 4 inches in this pink, and then about a dusting to an inch here in this blue, and then the green, maybe a trace if you're lucky. So that's what I've got right now. I'm feeling pretty confident in this as of right now, and I don't think we'll see too many more changes between now and tomorrow night when this begins, because we've really only got about 24 to 36 hours before precipitation begins to fall here across the region. But again, it's a very difficult forecast. It's very tough, so I can promise you there'll be places in this blue that see absolutely nothing. And then there are also places outside of this pink that will likely see more than they are expecting. I can just about guarantee that. That's just how these systems go. They're really tough to forecast, and it just takes a lot of mental fortitude, I guess, if you will. But anyway, again, sorry this video is kind of quick, kind of rushed, might have been a little messy, but I think a little messy is better than having nothing out at all today. I'm just, super busy. I am a college student after all, so there's only so much one guy can do in a day. But with all that said, thank you for joining me nonetheless. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow.